Are good? Okay. How much time do I have? 2 hours, 1.5 hours. Until 12:30. Okay, 1.5 hours. Okay. First, meditation. This is what I'm going to cover today. Why do we meditate? How to have a successful sitting. I'm not going to talk about the mechanical steps to meditation. Meaning, do I put my breath here, or do I put my attention on the breath here or there? I'm not looking at the geographical spaces of your face. Most of us are deeply concerned about the geographical site. Is it before the face, around the nose, above the lips, on the forehead, blah, 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 blah. Those are geographical sites. You'll be surprised. But exactly where you park your attention is not important. So you were obsessing about the wrong thing. If you are concerned about, do I start with in first or out first? Or do I sit on the chair, sit on the floor, sit on the bed, sit on the wall? You know, men can be quite creative. Thinking that the fear of falling will keep them alert, yeah, but it also will not steal your mind. Again, where you sit, not important. Where you put your attention, not important. The steps to do, the important one, chances are you didn't do. Therefore, you couldn't quite hit the bullseye. Chances are we are all parking our attention and doing the things, we're focusing our attention on the non-essential. And we were not paying attention to the essential. If you pay attention to the essential, I can almost guarantee you a great sitting. If you pay attention on the essential, I can almost guarantee. Not because I'm a great teacher, but Buddha was a great teacher. He explained how to do it right, but we didn't get it. I think that's the trouble. So anyhow, these are the 3 things we're going to cover over 14 slides. It's not many slides. Give a bit of time for questions and answer. Okay? Now, first, why? Before you do anything, I mean, if you're going to devote half an hour to an hour of your life doing meditation every day, see, not once a week. Cannot I do 10 minutes every day, then once a week gather about, 1 hour, 20 minutes? One shot. Can or not? No. Every day. Every day, if you can spare the time, the length of the sitting is not important. It's great if you can go for extended time, but if you really can't spare the time, you know, because you're so busy, right? You've got to check your handphone, you've got to call your friends, and you've got to schedule appointments, and you haven't caught up with quite a few friends, and that sort of thing, right? It's very busy life, very busy life. You work very hard, very hard. So okay, I understand 10 minutes. Take bus also about 10 minutes. Wait for MRT also a long time. Okay, what are we trying to do? I'm not going to ask you questions. I will just plunge right into the talk. Now, you all know that Buddha did not invent meditation, right? You don't know, huh? I tell you, Buddha didn't invent meditation. In fact, in his time, he went to consult and practice under what I call celebrity ascetics. These are famous teachers, very famous teachers. He went to consult them in the capital state of one of the most prosperous kingdoms of the day. Now you know, or if you don't know, now you know. Celebrity teachers park themselves in cosmopolitan areas so that they can enjoy the adulation, the material support, they need to eat, right? They need to stay somewhere. So only in busy places, highly densely populated places, will there be sufficient support for a good living. So all these celebrity teachers were found there, and the Buddha went to consult them. And he did so well. He was really good at that. With one of them, he was better than his teacher. With another, he was as good as his teacher. But he left. He left because he said, or he concluded, that what they were teaching couldn't help him answer his question. And his question was cessation of dukkha, liberation of the mind. That was his goal. The answer to mind's problem. And we must always remember this about the Buddha, that he left a method because it didn't answer to his objective. So therefore, because he had clarity on what he was trying to achieve, he knew very quickly when the method or what he was doing was not right. If you have no clarity on your goals, the purpose of the practice, if you have no clarity on that, then how do you know you're barking up the wrong tree? You see what I'm saying? So having clarity on what you must do, having clarity on what you want to achieve, and then devoting attention, focus on that clarity, what you want to achieve, the goal. That ensures that you don't get lost in your search. So my question to you, you said that you wanted to learn meditation. And I knew actually, before I came, I knew this today is going to be crowded. Because there's a lot of fascination with meditation. It's like, it's the epitome of the practice, meditation. Do you know why? Why is meditation encouraged, even emphasized? Do you know why? Yes, no, maybe. One of three. Yes, no, maybe, neither. The fourth one, I don't know why you're here. Yes, I know why. No, I don't know why. Okay, so the no is usually maybe. I said that the uniqueness of the Buddha's method, the uniqueness of the Buddha's method is in the intent, not the method. Meaning, why do we meditate? And there are two reasons, okay? These are my terms lah. Buddha didn't use these terms, tactical and strategic. You know, tactical, step by step by step by step. You do something to achieve something. You do something to achieve something else. That is very tactical. Strategic is there is a big end to the purpose. Okay? Tactically, it's for serenity. Strategically, it's for insight. So the question is, what is this serenity? And why this serenity? And the next question, what is this insight? And why this insight? Okay? I'm so nice to you, I just put them all up so that I can talk without having to click. You can take a picture, it's not going to be any more coming out. Tactically, the intent is to calm the mind down. Calm it down. Our regular mind is very talkative. Our regular mind chases objects, external objects, internal objects. It chases all the time. It chases, driven by delight, in search of delight, in search of views, in search of taste, in search of planning, thinking, and so on. It does it all the time. Too many activities. And I use the word exploding so often. So, tactically, when you try to bring the mind to a single point and rest it on that single point, the intent is to have the mind be disciplined. Hold it on the point. You're teaching it to be attentive. Mind is easily distracted. And the next step is to teach it to be non-judgmental. Our mind very habitually judges. If you say, no, my mind doesn't judge, you don't know your mind. All minds judge. Trained mind learn not to judge. A spiritually developed mind stops judging. So the regular mind, until you are spiritually mature, your mind will judge. Your mind will tell story. Your mind will spin story, not just tell. Tell is story start, story end. Spin is retelling the story again and again and again to anybody who wants to hear, but you don't realize nobody's listening because they are hearing their own story in their mind. So as you spin your story, they spin their story, the whole world is spinning. Okay? Teach the mind to be non-judgmental. Therefore, if you're non-judgmental, you're being factual. You're being detached. You are observing for facts. And if you are not sure, you're clear in your mind, if you're not sure if it's facts, you let your story be. Okay? You are supposed not to be emotional. You're teaching your mind not to be emotional, meaning don't run away with your feelings. Every time something arises and you like it, you watch your mind. The hooray is resounding, especially if you like it very much. It's like, oh, so nice, so nice. Okay? Then the last few ones, last 3 points, I'm just going to emphasize a little bit more. Whatever that you observe, the mind must put enough energy to remember. If you observe and you don't remember, it's wasted on you. So what does that mean? It means that in the Buddha's method of meditation, the mind has to be alert. If you say that I meditate regularly, my mind is very happy, I think of nothing and nothing happens. Is it right or wrong? Okay, it's not wrong, but it's off. Wrong and right, very judgmental ma. On and off is more factual ma, right? So I would say it's off. If your mind is not alert, it's not clear, it doesn't remember, you say I remember, but you recollect nothing, then that mind at that point when it's on that object is not doing what it's supposed to do by the Buddha's method. This you must remember. Non-judgmental, not emotional, able to recollect. It can remember. But the next point, which is linked to the next point, remember the important things. Remember what's important, and so it can examine and understand what is observed. And the final point, able to differentiate between a wide range of activities, meaning to say, your mind is quiet, it goes quiet enough, it is able to see for itself what the mind is doing. And all these skills are what you are developing during meditation, Buddha's method. So is it no thought? I'm always asked this question. I'm not supposed to think. You're not supposed to think. But is it no thought? It's not the same. Not thinking, maybe I should introduce the numbers. I should introduce the numbers. Okay. I'm going to introduce the numbers so that it's easier for me when I talk. For those of you who meditate and do it regularly, you probably can recognize the numbers. I just finished conducting a retreat recently, and at the retreat, I decided to introduce numbers to reflect states of mind. These are my numbers, not Buddha's number. I just want to stress, don't go out and say like that, 5. Buddha didn't say 5. I said 5. Okay, there are 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It starts with 1. 1 is the state of the regular mind. The mind that chases, the mind that gets caught up, the mind that spins story, the mind that lives in its own story. Caught up and deluded. Okay? Get it? That's number 1. Number 1 is the regular mind caught up in its own story, spinning happily. It's basically in its own reality. If you do mindfulness practice, if you have been training yourself to be mindful, you learn a bit of meditation, you may discover that the mind can jam brake. It gets caught up, then suddenly you're aware. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes? Who say no? Who say no? If you say no, I will give you extra time. So I repeat, that there is the regular mind that gets caught up, spinning story and all, happily spinning. Then there is a mental state which jam brake. And then suddenly you're mindful for a split minute, split second. How long you stay mindful is your own practice. So that's 2. Okay, that's 2. Remember, because afterwards I will drop everything and say 1, 2, 3. Then it is possible, when you do meditation, when you try meditating, meaning putting your mind on one object and staying with that object, you will find that your mind toggles between the mechanical process of breathing, and then it spins a thought. It goes into the thought. Then you bring it back to the breathing, and you're back with the mechanical breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other day I went to eat achomi at this place. Then off it goes. Then I'm not supposed to eat achomi. Come back to 1, 2, 3. Oh, I tell you, Jalan Kayu got very good biryani. That sort of things, So this is toggling. Toggling, I give it a 3. Okay. Now, if your mind begins to settle on the mechanical process of breathing, you don't have that many thoughts arising. And when thoughts do arise, you can actually catch them and then you drop the thoughts. You know that? Yes? That's a 4. That's 4. Okay? Now, 5. Samadhi is to achieve 4 and 5. What is 5? 5 is you don't even have to look at the mechanical process. You don't have to look at your breathing. You don't need an anchor to hold your mind. You have found mind. Know what I'm saying, right? That's 5. Okay? That's easy enough. Now, serenity meditation, it is to help the mind to get to 5. And I call that 5 the knowing mind. Clear, aware, clearly comprehending and aware. It's a very clear mind. So that's a 5. We are trying to achieve these things, all these conditions, all these descriptions, to get your mind to 5. Okay? Easy? Very dry. I'll guzzle up like a 3 liter. Okay, next. I've always wanted this to be first, second, can't be done. So that the mind can see 2 things. Strategic vipassana. When your mind gets to the state of 5, meaning you are not holding the mind to your breathing. You are aware of the mind. In that state, in that awareness, you look at the nature of the mind, and you become aware of two different, 1 and 2 are two different things. But 1 is to become aware of the conditions for dukkha. 2 is to see the nature of the mind as is. Defilements and delusions are conditions for dukkha, meaning to say, don't worry about 2, just look at me first. We'll talk about defilements and delusions. The defilements and delusions are merely a regular mind. Our mind chases for feelings. We like, we get engaged in that object that we liked, and we spin around the object. We delight in the object. We crave for the object. Anything that brings you delight, we crave for it. We enjoy it. We don't mind doing it again and again and again, right? You watch a show, the show is impactful for you, you want to keep going back to that show. Then the show coming with part 7, you're checking it out again. You know, the mind just loves these things. It's just delighting in it. What is wrong? What is wrong is, it's not wrong or right, but that chasing after the delight is the reason why we experience dukkha. The mind needs to recognize that. What are delusions? I'm cutting this I'm crunching it. What are delusions? Your mind put you as the center of your story. All of us here are protagonists in our world. We are the sun, the moon, Mother Earth, everything that you like. You are the center of your universe. Even if in your daily life you perceive that people don't like you, you perceive that you're unimportant, you perceive that you have all kinds of negativities against you, you perceive, but nonetheless, you are still center of your perceived sad world. And then the ones who are very, very confident, perceive themselves to be very successful, you perceive that the whole world look up to you, adoring you, paying respect to you, yeah? So it's either that the whole world look down on you, they got nothing better to do than to look at you and look down on you, or the whole world look up to you, again, nothing to do but look up to you, without realizing that we are gods in our own worshipping world. Only you look at you. Have you noticed that when you take a photo of like 20 people, you zoom in on? Have you all noticed it? I mean, who zoom in at the nicest looking fella, who dresses the best? You just zoom in on you first. Okay, that's one, right? You zoom in on you, and then what's the second thing you do? You see whether got anything wrong or not. Quickly, is it nice or not? Is it nice or not? Huh? You just zoom in and you see you, and then you see yourself relative to the others, and then you see it's all about you. Okay? Correct, right? Deluded lor. 是不是 deluded 咯？就是这样咯。We are so happy, then we think that everybody is looking at us lah. So next time you don't worry, okay? Unless you're naked, right? No one's look at you. As long as you put on a cloth, nobody looks at you. Okay? Unless you sting badly. Hugely badly. Well, my English is off today. When you sting, they're not thinking you sting. They're thinking they don't like the smell. They're caught up in themselves. Okay? It's not about you. Just remember that it's not about you. So don't worry. Don't worry. Your hair is not messy. It's okay. Nobody looks at the hair. Seriously? Did you look at the next person's hair? No. Especially for the guys, they miss the hair completely. Unless it's not there. Then they will look again and again for it. If it's there, they don't really care, It's just normal, yeah? Okay. Now, seeing the world as is. Now is Yatha Bhuta. Yatha Bhuta is as it is. Jnana, knowledge, dasana, to see. To see with knowledge and insight the world as it is. One of the things is seeing through the defilements and delusions. You need to see how your mind works itself into dukkha, because your mind works itself into dukkha because your mind is obsessed about you and obsessed about feelings. I didn't say craving, I say feelings. Because craving sometimes is not so obvious, but feelings, there's an entire song written on it with its own title, and many other songs written about feelings without it being obvious. I mean, no title there, isn't it? So seeing the reality of world as is, we always say that it's about looking for something. Yes, but the first part is looking for what is already there and knowing what is there for what it is. If you were looking for what you have never seen because it's something else, then you have missed the point. You first must see what's there. And what is there is the pain, the stress, the akusala. Akusala means mental states that are painful, generally. You know these things, these mental states are there because of delusions and defilements. So the first thing is you've got to see that they are there. Then you need to see that all these mental states come and cease. They come up, they fade away, they cease. They come up, fade away, cease, fade away. So the second thing that the Buddha's teaching now, the second set of things that you begin to observe are impermanence, dukkha in the impermanence, and you should tell yourself they are soullessness. If you understand these two sets of material information, two sets of knowledge, if you understand them properly, that is when your mind begins to loosen its grip on self and on craving. Ultimately, this practice is about nibbana, liberation, no more craving. You are liberated when you no longer crave. As long as there is a rising of craving, your mind is shackled. That is why enlightenment, the sets of knowledge that enable them to be enlightened, they are called dropping of fetters. You drop away your shackles. You are no longer caught, trapped. So, in order to be able to break free from the shackles, you need to first see for yourself how deluded, how caught up, what caught you. And then you neutralize that with the knowledge, insight, understanding. See for yourself that mental states arise and fade away. They don't stay indefinitely, forever and ever in that mental state. It won't. You see for yourself all mental states arise and fade away. You see for yourself, as long as there's one drop of one thing, in any small minute drop, there will be dukkha. you can accept, you can let go, you are done. Okay? So this is simple, right? This is not new. Is this new to you? This is relatively straightforward. Number one, get the mind to a state where it's relatively quiet and calm so that it is non-judgmental, it's not critical, it doesn't get caught up, not emotional. And then because it's sharp and clear, it's able to observe the mind phenomenal. Next page, what are the mind's phenomenal? Look at the conditions for dukkha, defilement, the constant locking, the mind is constantly locked around the idea of an I. The mind is always mind-making, telling stories, spinning story. The mind is trapped in feelings, caught up in feelings. And all these are habits of the mind and how you are driven around by habits. Timeless habits. So we need knowledge that's timeless to neutralize your habits. The knowledge that can help you neutralize these, getting caught up with your story and getting caught up with defilements, that knowledge is knowledge of the true characteristics of the mind. Impermanence and conditioned, dukkha in the chase, ultimately anatta. Anatta, new word, anatta. For emphasis and reinforcement, anatta. Soullessness, essencelessness, substancelessness. Today's talk is not about anatta, so we are moving on. Okay? Take picture first, then I'll talk. Now, I wrote the word, I have some hesitation. Some hesitation going too much into defining successful setting, okay? You see, the moment I say there's such a thing as successful setting, everyone start looking for success. Why? Because we are the 3K. You are the 3K. I leave it to you to know what are the 3Ks. And because we're the 3Ks, we must gun for success. That's silly. It will be a failure. So that's why I was like hesitating how to use the word. But if I were to say how to have a balanced sitting, then everybody go home. Not interested. Balanced sitting, what does that mean? We want success. We want guarantee of success. Like 包价 one. Right? You want the 包价 version. So I need to explain that the first thing you must understand about successful meditation is balance. It's balance, okay? I don't want to dishearten you. I also don't want to take you away from understanding that it's important to sit. So I'm going to say quite a few things here. You bear with me as we meander through this. First point, any sitting is a good sitting. It really is better than none. So even if you cry buckets over your dropping legs, it's okay. The fact is you even had a chance to cry. Otherwise, you just kind of play with your iPad. This is actually important. You need to tell yourself, let's not place our hopes too high. Let's not get caught up in expectations. If you are caught up in expectations, that wanting something in itself is really an obstacle. Have you heard of stories where people go and try out meditation for the first time and it's like a full marks for the first sitting? They sit, they didn't expect anything, right? They just sit and then the mind flies and suddenly they're in this state of quiet. Five. They're in 5 with ease of quiet. And then they spend the rest of their life looking for 5. Have you heard of this kind of stories? Is that your experience? UT, because you have, it is actually not a good thing for you to have strike gold at your first dig. You strike gold, and then after that, for the rest of your life, you're still digging around there looking for gold. But if you have never struck gold, then you always wonder what gold looks like. That is also a problem. To strike or not to strike. Both are problematic. The problem is expectations of gold. That's the problem. And that's human. So by saying that any sitting is a good sitting, I want you to moderate expectations. Keep your expectation as low as possible. You see, I tell you not to have expectations, and I'll be wasting my saliva. Who sits with no expectations other than the Aryas? Most other people sit hoping to get magic. Seriously, people are looking for lights, which is another set of problems. Now we're not looking for lights, okay? Don't look for anything. That's the point. So set your bar as low as possible. If you have to set something, just say, I set. Okay? If you have to set some expectation, just say, I sit. I didn't lie down, I sat. That's one. Number two, don't worry about duration. Many people equate duration with success or achievements. As long as you have the idea of achievements, problem. Okay? And it's not about duration. You see, the first one is about quality. The second one is about quantity. Both, put it aside. Meditation should generally be peaceful and restful. Generally. And the whole idea of having at least a sitting a day is to remind yourself of the practice. You don't want to be fixated about what I should achieve. You only want to remind yourself once a day. I sit to remind myself that I am a disciple or a student of the Dhamma. I am a disciple of the Buddha. And I hope that in this sitting, I can just honor my practice. That's all. If you want to say anything, you can say it like this. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. In a 24-hour day, I only put aside 5, 10, 15 minutes to remind myself that I am a student of the Dhamma. I'm a practitioner on this path. I uphold, I honor my Buddha. That's it. Then, you need to look out for these things. I'm going to spend a bit more time talking about this. You see the no distracting thoughts arising. A successful sitting is when no thoughts arise. No distracting thoughts. You don't get caught up in distracting thought. That's 4. 4 is you are not caught up in the distracting thoughts. 5 is when there are no thoughts arising. Your mind is joyous, tranquil, mindful, aware, clear, equanimous. All effortlessly. In that state of mind with all these qualities, joy, tranquility, mindful, clearly aware, clear, equanimous, when you have all these qualities, the mind is ready for what I call vipassana. Presence of jhanic mental states. These are jhanic mental states. Don't worry about jhana. You only be aware of these mental conditions. Joy, you know. When the mind is light and joyous, you know. When the mind is clear, alert, and mindful, you know. When the mind is not caught up, you know. So if you want to know what a good sitting is, these are the mental states that come up. If you say, I don't usually see these mental states, you know that that sitting that you have is not like this. Okay? When you have all these mental states present, only then is your mind really ready to observe insight. Meaning, not observe insight, observe the nature of the mind from which it derives insights. You look at the mind's nature and you're able to understand what's going on. Your takeaway from the observation, they are called insights, vipassana. If you have never seen a mind of this nature, these mental states are not there, and you say you're doing vipassana, you are just cycling without cycling. Your bicycle is not moving. You're on the gym bike. And therefore, you cannot say you are a cyclist. Because even I can do that. Do you know what I'm saying? If you do not have joy, tranquility, mindfulness, clear awareness, and you said that you're doing vipassana meditation, you are not. You're not really doing vipassana. You can try, but your takeaway, you don't know if they're correct or not. If you don't know if your takeaway is correct or not, because I have people saying that I'm doing vipassana, so I'm not sure whether my mind is talking. It is talking. If you ask me, because I've been asked, if you ask me, I'm doing vipassana meditation, no? I'm working very hard with vipassana meditation, but I'm not sure whether my mind is talking or not. It is talking. Because if it were really vipassana, you will know your mind wasn't talking. Okay? And I want to stress this, no need to know what jhana level. Because supposing that your mind, I'm going to tell you how to do it later, but supposing your mind is able to go quiet, and then it sits there quietly at the number 4.5, and then you go, is this jhana? 3. Hey, I just lost my jhana. 2. Sudahlah, 1. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is important. Do not be fixated. And then some people say, yeah, but you don't have jhana card. Then you're going to spend your life looking for jhana, lor. And you're going to look for jhana, then who is looking for vipassana? Are you looking for jhana or vipassana? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like doing this, You are very anxious that your child must score 4 distinction or 5 distinction or 8 distinction. You're just fixated about the distinctions. And you never did a single thing helping him grow his character. Then he came out from school armed with the PhD, first class, 9th class, 10th class, then he goes to the workforce and nobody wants to employ him. Because his character is hopeless. Do you know what I'm saying? You have missed the big picture. You're fixated on the wrong goals. Okay? So in this practice, fix your mind. Your goal is liberation of the mind, not jhana to tie you down. Okay? The reason why the mind finds it so difficult to go quiet in the way that I mentioned earlier is because your mind, now these are the 2 points, particularly the bottom one. The first one says it has its usual, regular, when you go into meditation and your mind on a regular basis gets very distracted, running around, jumping all over the place, you go into meditation and straight away you want it to behave. Straight away you want it to stop. It can't. If you were the whole day angry, score outwards, then score inwards because you didn't score outwards stronger. You know, you score in, score out. No, the other way around. Score in, score out. And score, then search, score again. Then, oh, sorry, it's time for my meditation. It's time for my meditation. Okay? So you don't make noise, because I got to meditate, you don't make noise, And then 1 hour later, come and score some more because meditation just jalan. Now, the usual problems are searching, seeking, looking, which the Buddha has called sensual, desires for sensual pleasures. Senses, sense-based. Mind also, actually it's desire, loba. Then the second one is the heart mind. The heart mind, which is dosa-based. Ill will, jealousy, annoyance, you name it, they're all there. That's the heart mind. The mind is very hard. The agitated mind, the worrying mind, the frightened mind, the sleepy, drowsy mind. You know, I'm describing the regular mind, okay? The second one, it's important. You need to become, this is the one that I said, and I put a huge emphasis for any practitioner, is this balance between kusala and akusala. Kusala means all the mental states that bring joy. The giving, chaga, the faith, compassion, metta, mudita. If you're not Singaporean, what else? Humility, whatever. Mental states which are kusala, they are joyous, they are light. By having those mental states in the mind, you are joyous, you are light. You need to be very clear, because if you do not have this balance right, you can forget about meditation. If your mind is too heavy, if it's too hard, if it has no joy, you can't meditate. It does not matter how long you sit. You can sew yourself into the cushion so that anytime you want to sit, the cushion is there. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. You can lie until you get concussion. Right? You know of people who get headache, isn't it? I tell you, did you know that in the Buddha's Sutta, when he taught meditation, samadhi meditation, every single sutta, when he talks about the jhana, he starts with one sentence. Secluded from unwholesomeness, secluded from sensual pleasures. Did you all notice that? Now I say you. Do you know what that means? That means kusala mental states. Did you know that? Now do you know why you find it so hard? Secluded from unwholesomeness, no akusala. Secluded from sensual pleasure. Your mind doesn't run out and play. Doesn't run out. Doesn't seek delight outside. As long as your mind has akusala, in the retreat I ask people 50-50, 60-40, 30-70. In what proportion is your mind? You have to know. If it has more akusala than kusala on a regular day, in the regular time, regular day, 24 hours a day, 15 hours you akusala, maha. On a good day, akusala, chula. And then kusala, 5 minutes, the rest neutral. Sure cannot meditate, for sure. Okay? So knowing the proportion. If you don't know the proportion, I call it lack of self-awareness. You're too busy looking outward scolding. Never look inwards and see for yourself what's going on in here. Point finger, there are then 3 more pointing back. So, checking akusala, okay? Be very clear about what comes out of your mouth. Be very clear. Now, you know scolding is very hard mental energy. Whether you scold someone outside or you scold someone yourself inside, even scolding yourself is hard energy. Did you know that? If you spend your time, because you're a practitioner, right? Because you're very practitioner, you have to be very kusala, right? But then, you say that, I'm supposed to be kusala, leh. But I get irritated. I'm such a bad person, bad person. You do that to yourself. Then it's also akusala. You think that by punishing yourself for not being kusala enough, you're being kusala. You're not. You're being akusala jalat. You see that? So, harsh mental states. Now, what are I call it the immoral speeches. Your actions, killing lah, stealing lah, and then there are others, words that hurt people. Harsh speech, slander, gossip, gossip. Even down to sampapalapa. Sampapalapa, chit-chatting, chatter. You can spend the whole day calming the mind. One evening you start chit-chatting, tomorrow start again. The mind will just run like this, okay? So I don't want to go through too much into it, but I just want to point out to you that these are the akusala. Akusala, there are two types. There are the immoral akusala and the unskillful akusala. Immoral are the ones which can hurt others and hurt yourself. Unskillful, you only hurt yourself. You don't hurt others. But these are the sets. And I will refer specifically to this one on doubt. Vichikicha. Because in meditation, this is the one that pops out. If you're sitting and you're sitting comfortably and for some strange reason your mind goes a bit quiet because you're not very akusala the day. No, you're not very akusala, so the mind can go a bit quiet, okay? So you're now at a 4. You're quite kusala. You're not very akusala, so your mind can go a bit quiet. So you're at a 4. And then you say, am I doing right? Is this correct? Am I saying correctly? That is Vichikicha. That is Vichikicha. People always say Vichikicha is about Vichikicha of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. No. Vichikicha is doubt. It's confusion. It's perplexity. So when you are sitting and then you say, am I doing this right? Am I seeing right? That's Vichikicha. Your mental energy will shake. Which is why, actually, in the second, if your mind goes relatively quiet, 1 degree notch up quiet, confidence arises. If your mind is relatively quiet, 4.5 quiet, confidence arises as a mental state. So if in your sitting you notice yourself going, am I doing this right? Is this the right track? Something like this. You don't have that arising of confidence. You're still stuck at trying to do one. You're still trying to keep the mind quiet. Get it? It's very interesting. You should look at some of the words that the Buddha used to describe the mind that's going quiet. Okay? So, very important, you need to check akusala. Because akusala mental states, akusala means unwholesome, unskillful mental states. These mental states have the following characteristics. Each akusala mental state feels different. All are unpleasant, some are even painful. You pick anyone. The moment you go into anger, pleasant or unpleasant? Pleasant or painful? If you worry, pleasant or unpleasant? Don't know, Come, let's all worry. Agitation, It is so unpleasant, your stomach starts to run. Sometimes, okay? And uniquely, this is very interesting, it balloons the I. It balloons the I, mind, and self. If you look at a akusala mental state, you find that the I is huge. The mental state of the I is huge. Let me ask you, when you scold people, do you want to do it? Seriously? You never scold people before? 真是的吗? No, seriously. When you scold, when you get angry, the anger that comes up, let's say you didn't scold, the anger is coming up. When the anger comes up, do you feel this compulsion to say something? Yes. Huh? When the anger starts to come up, right, is there this compulsion to like, say it? Huh? Go. Then you say it already, what happened? Say some more. Right? Correct, right? Then you say, kaya na wachachite na, right? Tamadena mayam kata, right? You say all these things, but the mind says, say it. Okay, then the two of you, no anger. The two of you disagree. I say Buddha taught like this. You say Buddha taught like that. We're all talking about Dhamma here. Then what happened? Did you see how your mind said, I'm right. This point is like this. He better understand correctly. Do you find your mind? Dhamma also you have got so much views. Argue with your should it be like this? That is why you have got so many proliferation of schools, you see. All Dhamma practitioners, all have so many proliferation, so much proliferations. Because the I gets bigger and bigger. You argue with someone, you are in the wrong, you couldn't bring yourself to apologize. Yeah? 对吗？对啦，是人嘛，一定对的 right? If you are in the right, you lucky will not apologize. Yeah? Yeah. Right ma? Right. Then wrong leh? 不要紧啊. He should forgive me ma, he practitioner. Okay. And the thing about akusala, you see, okay. This is all mental check. You listen to Dhamma talk. You get so inspired. Today you're going home to sit for an hour. You walk out of this place. And then, oh my gosh, there's a queue here to go up the bus. And, oh my God, this guy jumped queue again. And, no. You start talking already. Your mind start talking already. The fella is always like that one. Don't want to queue up properly. You start to talk. Huh? Our mind, the moment there is akusala, you find that it's so difficult to stop the mind from running away. Akusala has this problem of gripping your mind and running. Then your story in there will just go on and on and on. So what do? You cut thoughts. Cut it. Don't talk. The more you talk, you want to talk yourself into kusala? You want to do that? Well, it usually wouldn't work because akusala, anatta, right? Conditions-based, they will fly. If you can successfully talk yourself out 3 years later, give yourself a prize. It takes a long time to finally work whatever out of your system. And only if in these 3 years, you are trying very hard to understand the mind. So with some degree of wisdom, you can actually let go. But without any wisdom, without the right wisdom, letting go is so hard. Have you seen practitioners 20 years later still complaining about something that happened 20 years ago? Yeah. It's just like that. And sometimes, actually most times, you need kusala to neutralize akusala, which is what the Buddha taught. So monks, they had fear. He taught them metta. metta, is also to help them. It's also to help them in calming the mind down. Metta, helping them to calm their mind down. Metta helps you to neutralize anger. It neutralizes, metta neutralizes fear. It neutralizes worry. It neutralizes a lot of things if you can do metta correctly. If you're very angry with someone, you bring up a kusala thought. He is suffering as much, if not more. You want to have thoughts? Have it like this. If you're angry with somebody because he's so selfish, he's so nasty, you can't stand him, you bring up in you the thought, a person of this mental energy so hard, he's going to suffer a lot. He's in a lot of pain. If you can just remember that he's in more pain than you, what happens? Karuna arises. The moment you just remember for yourself that someone who is this nasty suffers more than you, he's in so much more pain than you, you can do that. Your karuna comes up. What happened to the anger? Neutralize. This is how it works. You want to talk wisely. You don't say like this. I give you an example. Someone say you, he's very nasty, he's very selfish in your mind. He's very nasty, he's very selfish. So he tells you, I'm a practitioner, I shouldn't get angry. I'm a practitioner, I shouldn't get angry. It will keep going up. Why is it doesn't work? If you say it like this, it wouldn't work. Why? Because of the I. You are talking as if it's about you. So you're feeding your I more than you are calming the I down. I'm a practitioner. I should be doing like this. How come I cannot do this? Now you have anger about yourself. And then so anger plus anger equals double anger. Double whammy. It's compounded. If you want to talk wisely, my suggestion or my advice is you just cut it, stop talking. Stop talking and wait for the energy to settle. With the energy settle, if you don't talk, it wouldn't come back. But the trouble with us is we talk. Calm down, calm down. Yeah, like you shouldn't like that, no. It's always like that. Calm down, calm down. You know, the next time he's like that, I'm walking out. You talk so much. The poor fella is trying to calm down. You talk so much, you resurrect the akusala. Get it? So, the best, just stop it. Stop it, walk away. And let the mind settle. You can't do that. You must talk wisely. It's about the other person in a kusala way, not the other person in an akusala way. So you want to talk about him, you say, he's in a lot of pain. I know that he's in a lot of pain. Then let's just forget it. Let's not add to that pain. What is talking wrongly? He's giving me a lot of pain. He's giving everybody a lot of pain. Okay? Wise words. I didn't say very much about kusala here. I think I should say something more about the kusala. Before we go into this frame, I can't remember whether the rest I talk about kusala, did I? Don't have. Okay, I will say something about kusala here. I spoke a lot about akusala. I want to say something positive. For every one of us, our mental energy is a little different, right? Even kusala mental energy. For those of us who have personally felt the joy of practice, who have felt deep joy in the practice, their faith is very strong. All they need to do is to remember the Buddha, and then they will turn on the waterworks. It's as simple as that. They remember the Buddha, they remember their own joy, they remember him with gratitude, the waterworks flow. PUB also not so effective. Okay? Then there are the ones who have had pain in their life, but their takeaway from their own life experiences is actually compassion. They have pain, but then they have strong empathy for others' pain. When they have very strong empathy for another's pain, for them compassion comes out very easily. The moment they reflect with compassion, compassion arises. There are some people who are easily contented. They're just easily contented. People who are very easily contented, mudita, metta, both come out very easily. So if you say that, oh, I'm actually very metta, a person who is very metta, the odds are you are easily content, you're easygoing, and so when you see another, your mind does not perceive any threat or competition. So you're friendly all the way. If you find that mudita, you know what's mudita, right? Having strong empathy for another's good fortune. If you find that mudita doesn't come out easily for you, it usually means by instinct you're very competitive. You're not content. You're always wanting something more. When you're not content, mudita is a very quiet voice in a corner. Mudita, very hard to come out. Get it? So know the mental kusala energy that comes out easiest for you, so that in your practice you are able to bring up this mental energy quickly. If you can't bring up a kusala mental energy before you're sitting, it wouldn't work. It's very hard. So I've said this before. I've said this also somewhat. Comfortable. You can be comfortable only if comfortable in body is easy. Comfortable in mind is the tricky one. You can be comfortable in mind only with kusala mental energy. If you find that you have strong akusala mental energy, you are not comfortable in mind. Okay? You say you want to meditate, you have not had very great success at this. This is the point that is the most important. Get your mind kusala. If you find faith comes out easily for you, bow before the Buddha, light a candle, put some water, remind yourself of the practice, then you sit. Because for you, faith is the door into kusala. If you said, I have never really felt deeply for the Buddha ever, it's okay. It does not make you a bad student. It merely means you have never really experienced his Dhamma and you are not easily brainwashed. Which is a good thing. No, because some people, the mind is very clear, very scientific. They want empirical evidence. Before that, you ask me to bow, I bow lor, because otherwise people look at me ma, so I bow lor. But I can't feel the connection to Buddha. I understand, that is fine. So for you, it is not faith that goes through that door, the kusala door. But you must have something, metta, friendliness, love, kindness, consideration, and so on and so forth. You must have something. If you don't have, you need to start cultivating. You have to start cultivating kusala. And you have to neutralize your akusala. Okay? Otherwise, you cannot be comfortable in mind. I made one mistake earlier, telling people that you should let go, don't expect, let go. But then I realized that that is negative instruction. Negative instruction does not work as well. Positive instruction is better. So you tell people, be accepting. It's the same idea, but to accept means the mind knows what to do. Don't do that. The mind actually doesn't know what to do. I'm not supposed to do that. Then he goes back and do that. I'm supposed to let go, right? So I say, don't cling. Then the mind will, I'm not supposed to cling, but then I'm now clinging to the thought. So you teach people to be accepting, to be patient, to let the conditions be whatever comes, come. So you prepare your mind saying something like this. So you start off being comfortable. Then you start off saying, I accept. I willingly accept. You find that you're still not willing, you tell yourself, be patient. Be patient. Okay? And then you need to recall the soft mental energy. All kusala mental energies are soft. All of them. You just think of something rather uncommon. Humility. Try. Can you think of humility? Being humble, being modest, being really humble, not hypocritically humble. Hypocritically, butunya. Just take a bow. Seriously, just do this. When you do this happily, for some strange reason, the mind comes down. So therefore, any mental energies which are kusala, they are soft. Remember that. Remember the softness. And the final one, always tell yourself, this is not about you. Buddha's advice to his student has always been, you practice for your own welfare and for the welfare of another. Are you familiar with Karaniya-metta Sutta? I'm going to use that to show you what I mean. Are you familiar with Karaniya-metta Sutta? Now, if you're not familiar, I will just go through very broadly, but think of it this way. You just follow keep your mind on what I say. Karaniya-metta Sutta has 3 parts in the sutta. The first part talks about your own practice. And you are recollecting for yourself if you are committed, when you are committed to this path and practice, you know what you're supposed to cultivate, what qualities you're supposed to cultivate. Running your mind through those qualities, you say, I have been like this. My practice is upright. I'm trying to do my best. I will practice honestly, sincerely, to the best of my ability. And I will cultivate these mental conditions. I'm gentle, I'm content, I'm easygoing, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole list of the mental qualities to be cultivated as a practitioner. So as your mind goes through those qualities, the mind softens. And then at some point, because the mind is so soft and happy that it is indeed on that path, it has indeed cultivated those qualities, you actually say, just as I'm feeling so happy and blessed, I wish for every individual out there, every beings out there, I wish for them the joy. May they be well and happy, the joy. May they also, in your mind, experience the joy that I am experiencing. The moment your mind turns from inwards to outwards, you do this correctly, the joy will overflow. It flies. And then if you are able to sit on this joy and say, all beings, all direction, all shapes and sizes, born, unborn, seen, unseen, you can do that, and suddenly you feel at one with all the suffering beings of the world. Your joy will really explode exponentially. If you had kept it only about yourself, it only reaches up to half tank. If you are able to identify with all beings and their pain and suffering, your metta will really go up to full tank and overflow. Free one at this type. Overflow. And when the metta has overflow, that's when the mind goes really quiet. That is why metta practiced correctly, some people said it's so much easier to still the mind than using breathing as an object. That's why people say that, right? For those of you who know how to do metta, it's very fast. It's supersonic fast. But only if you are already somewhat familiar with metta energy, if your practice requires you to think of babies, kittens, puppies, or it's all about you, may I be very happy, may I will be very happy, I be very happy. That type, you'll find that the metta comes out in spurts. Sometimes. Okay? So there's that Buddha's method. Okay, this is just illustration purposes. You don't have to do any of them. I put in this one only to remind myself to talk about posture. In terms of posture, I said earlier, be comfortable in the form. You sit upright is a good thing. If you have a habit of falling asleep, sitting upright helps a little. But I have also seen people sitting upright and dozing off. Short of standing, they dozed off. They're sitting upright, but they dozed off. The actual posture doesn't matter. Full lotus, half lotus, on chair, on floor, on bed, actually doesn't matter. You get the earlier ones right, the actual posture doesn't matter. If you get your mental states right, if you're very kusala as opposed to akusala, you're not really much akusala, but you're very kusala. You can be mindful and in some kind of a concentration effortlessly in daily life, let alone posture. About posture is people who don't really know how to meditate and they need all the scientific details, not even scientific, mechanical details for support. It actually doesn't matter. Things like a quiet room and no sound and no light and all those things, right? It's ideal, but you don't always have ideal conditions. You sit in a hospital waiting room, where got ideal? In a hospital waiting room, people walk in, out, left, right, center, right? But even then, you can do it if the mind is kusala enough. Kusala. Okay? In terms of object, like that, look. Buddha used 40 types. I would specifically talk about only breathing. The reason being that breathing. Now, I want to emphasize this again. We always say breath. But anapana is breathing in and out. When you say breath, you tend to be fixated about one point, one spot. But Buddha said breathing, it's a flow, it's a movement. The mind doesn't rock. The mind is soft and it just follows a movement. And your job is really to observe that flow, in and out, in and out. How much details to note? Well, this is one of those trick questions. When you set out to practice and you're doing this for the first time, my advice, no right or wrong, my advice is train the mind to observe as much details as you can pick up. This is training. Is this the objective? No, not really. The objective is not to get out of meditation and tell your meditation teacher, today I see 5, yesterday I saw 6, though yesterday was better. It's not like this. You are basically polishing your tools, your observation skills. And how much details you can pick up tells you whether you are getting sharper at observation. Sharper, the mind is clearer, the mind is sharper. This is required particularly for the 5 mental states, number 5. The mental states when mind go very quiet and you're starting to look at the features, the phenomenon of the mind. The mind is very subtle. Because the mind is very subtle, the sharpness of observation enables you to recognize what's going on better. Then you say, so you're saying that we must lah. If you're not observing very clearly, not good lah. You must, but if you're too tight, if you're observing, you're fixated about trying to pick up everything and you're very tight, the mind actually becomes hard. When the mind becomes hard, you get a headache. So you see what I'm saying? There is a balance going on. To observe enough, not get any headache. You have to have some degree of relaxing and some degree of discipline. So it's discipline, but relaxed discipline. Not the stepmother version. I mean, no. Not the Cinderella stepmother version. Because our kind of stepmother not same, huh? The Cinderella stepmother version, not that version. But and not the indulgent mother version. The son scream, it's okay. The son roll on the floor, it's okay. The son jump, it's okay. Not that version. We don't want that completely indulgent version. We want a balance. The mother that say, boy, come sit here. Boy, sit here. Boy, tonight got no rice for you. Not that version. Boy, sit here. Like that, huh? Gentle but firm. Gentle but firm. Note, flow, and rhythm. Meaning the air that goes in, comes out. Comes in, comes out. Relax on that. Stay with that. There is, initially there is some degree of telling the mind, giving instruction to the mind. Stay on this breathing, don't slide away, don't move, come back to the breathing, accept, relax, calm down, observe. You see, too much talking, not if you are very clear what you are doing. Meaning to say, you know you are holding the mind on the breathing. You are clear about holding mind on breathing. You are not talking. Just stay here. Just be calm. Just stay. Budo, stay on this. Some degree of that. There are other objects which are very commonly used these days. I just want to highlight the objects to you. I don't want to go into it because my last slide is more important. The next slide is more important. Okay? So promoting the kusala mental states, metta. Reflection, 32 parts is actually for reflection so that you reduce attachments. Walking is to teach the mind to multitask even as it is cultivating mindfulness. But the last one, to me, it is important. You see, this path comprises 3 parts: Panya, Sila, Samadhi. Okay? This path comprises 3 components. Meditation is not everything. The 3 parts, your awareness that these 3 parts is important. Many of us get very caught up in the idea of meditation. If I don't meditate, I fall off the path. If I'm not meditating, I am not really practicing. If you are meditating but you're not familiar with the other 2 parts, in fact, you can't meditate unless you have sila. Sila, virtues, goodness. You must have strong degree of goodness. You must be in your daily life, learn to moderate the akusala. Sila is about that. Virtues, morality, it's about moderating the unwholesomeness, the immorality from your life, from your mind. Moving that out of the way. And you must do that with understanding. So actually, it should have been flipped. I also didn't catch. My fault. but just remember, the first one should be Panya, followed by Sila, followed by Samadhi. It should be the other way around. Panya, know what you're doing. Know why you are doing something. Know that you have to do it. And if this is your goal, Nibbana is your goal, practice is your goal, know why you must do it and know that you must do it. Because some people, PhD and all in Buddhism, so they know the Dhamma concepts. At the back of their mind, they know they should do it, but they don't. They do not. So what are they not doing? They're not necessarily holding sila. Many of us with knowledge of the Dhamma, but we didn't put it into practice. We didn't hold sila. We live our life in the regular way, untrained. You know, the Buddha used the word train. The trained disciple, the disciple in training, as opposed to the regular man in the street. The regular man in the street did not choose to train his mind, did not choose to try and understand how his mind works. But you say you're interested in the Dhamma. And if you say you're interested in the Dhamma, you are saying, I am interested in training this mind. So you understand what you must do, and then you must do it. You want prepare to train the mind. And one of the biggest, to me, probably very hard to do, is actually holding kusala and putting aside akusala. Because we don't have sufficient mindfulness, perhaps. Our anger comes out so easily. We haven't quite built up some degree of detachment and so on. So holding kusala, eradicating akusala is a challenge. That is why so many people have problem meditating. I like to say this. You know the three sets, Panya, Sila, Samadhi. Two of them are conditional. Only one of them is volitional. Conditional means without the conditions being present, you don't have that. Volitional means you have a choice. You can actually control that. So, Panya is conditional. Samadhi is conditional. Only Sila is volitional. Panya depends on how much you have absorbed from whether it is the right teaching and a good person. Panya also depends on whether you have been observing the mind correctly based on the correct practice. So Panya is not about having a lot of knowledge, information. It's really about correct information and right application. So if you don't have correct information, your Panya, where did it come from? If you have been picking up the wrong information, you mop up the wrong information, or you have the correct information, but the person teaching you got it wrong, then you mop up all this 冒牌货. Then what happens? Panya has already one half sengit, one half off. Then if you, assuming you got the right version, you got correct guidance, but you won't even look at your mind. You don't know what to look at. You say, I have never really seen the mind. Really? You're not living in your thoughts? So you know I, you know craving, you know feelings, you didn't pay attention to them. You see what I'm saying? So if you didn't pay attention to the I and to mind made and to craving and all, and these are not the ones that are the high end you must see type. These are the low end, every day also can see type. You never pay attention to these. So you got the information, you got the knowledge, you got everything right, but you never pay attention to what's happening in your mind, so you never practice accordingly. No Panya either. Nothing comes out. Get it? So Panya is conditional. How much you grow depends on what conditions are in place. Samadhi, by now, after I've emphasized for 1.5 hours, Samadhi, you know, it's also conditional. It is not whether you know the steps. It is whether your mind conditions are right. If you are more akusala than kusala, you can know the steps by heart, one way, two way, roundabout way, you can know all the steps. Learn from the best teachers of the world in meditation. And still the mind can't hit 5. If it ever hit 5, for that one split moment your mind wasn't akusala, then it would drop back. And your practice is very seasonal, very unpredictable. You will say, I sit 50-50 can, 50-50 cannot. They're already 50-50 kusala. If you're very akusala, you will be 0 upon 10. Worse, owe me marks. After I talk so much, you owe me marks. It can be that bad. Like 10 times sit, 10 times go off. It means the mind pot has been stirred badly. And the mind pot is stirred badly because you allow the mind to go do whatever it wants. Default. It's default. So, samadhi is conditional, panya is conditional, sila is volitional. You can choose whether or not you want to scold. You can choose whether or not you want to let go. You can forgive. You say, I can't. You never try. Of course you can. You are anatta. You're not atta. Of course you can. Now, if you have these 3 done correctly, with the correct understanding, you hold the morality line, your mind naturally goes quiet. Natural. Eightfold Path. Have you seen Eightfold Path? Eightfold Path at right effort means completely clean up job. Okay, maybe I just take you through the path. Take a bit up of your lunchtime. First one says right understanding. Second one says right thought. Because of right understanding, you learn not to hold. You learn to let go. Learn not to just to let go. Nekkamma, letting go. You learn not to get angry. You learn not to be cruel. Because of that, this is thoughts, right thoughts. Because of that, the words that come out of your mouth should not be akusala, should be kusala. Your action should not hurt people, should not hurt other beings. Be kusala. You serve, you help to the best of your ability, you give. In your livelihood, you hurt nobody, you earn nothing from another's pain. And just to make sure you are clean on kusala, you look at the next one, right effort. The Buddha is still talking about right, sila. 5 out of 8. 5 out of 8 of your Eightfold Path. 5 of them, huge majority, right? On kusala. If 5 out of 8 of the Eightfold Path is about sila, what's foremost? Sila. Sila is foremost. 5 of 8, Sila is foremost, means you must hold the morality line. Give, be kind, be gentle, be patient, be humble. If you say, I'm none of these, now you know why cannot meditate, lor. That is why. It is not the mechanical steps. It's nothing to do with mechanical steps. Then you have teachers who taught you mechanical steps in a very mechanical way. Those teachers had no problem meditating. They fly when they sit because they are already very kusala. Because they're very kusala, they fly when they sit. They sometimes forgot that you didn't fly. So they flap their wing and off they go and you piak, then you go. The teacher will guide lah. Am I supposed to do like this or like this or like this? The teacher said anyway also can ma. It's just like that, then you fly ma. So they are puzzled why you can't fly, and you are disgruntled because they didn't teach the steps properly. When the reality is, whose fault? ourselves. We didn't clean up the mind. You see that? Now, I'll take you into the last part, which is the next part of the practice. If you understand what you're doing, why you are doing, and constantly fix your eyes on that goal, this is called holding the line in the mind, okay? Because you understand what you're supposed to do and you are prepared to do it, you must hold the line, the morality line. If you hold the morality line, bump up your kusala, pump down your akusala, you hold that morality line, your mind automatically, naturally goes quiet. This is holding the line on the heart. Holding the mind, holding the morality line, holding the heart. When you do that, when the mind goes quiet, you're now sitting on that breathing, the mind goes back to Dhamma. It automatically goes back to Dhamma because you're very kusala. When you're very kusala, the mind will return to what is pure. And the purest thing in your mind is Dhamma. The mind goes back to the Dhamma, it will begin to understand the Dhamma. The quiet mind is the mind that understands the Dhamma. This is Vipassana. When it understands the Dhamma, at the point of that understanding, there is no dukkha. There is no dukkha because the mind is not seeking. No dukkha. Back to kusala, pure as it gets. The mind is released. Relax and release. The Dhamma will being complete is this constant Panya Sila Samadhi, Panya Sila Samadhi, Panya Sila Samadhi. It goes quiet, Samadhi, it goes back to the Dhamma, Panya. It goes back to the Dhamma, it's very pure. You understand why the mind is pure. Sorry, the understanding is pure. The mind goes purer, the mind goes stiller. It doesn't cling, it doesn't chase. It's at peace. That's the path. And it's a will because you constantly reinforce. And reinforcing is easy. You understand the sequence, reinforcing is easy. Remember, Panya, Sila, Samadhi. Always. Okay?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, maybe we can take one or two questions. Okay.
Thank you, Sir. This will be very good talk. That's why I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm sure many of us here are also big fan of yours. one very simple question. You talk about meditation with intention, and invariably it must be good intention.
Yes.
But there's a saying that says that the road to hell is paved with good intention.
You are already in hell.
So if you think of hell not as
No.
dukkha, so how do you reconcile these two?
No. We all start from hell. And we work our way to heaven.
Yeah, but the intention, the path is always good, but it's
No. That's just an expression. That's just an expression. And I don't know who came up with that expression. We don't start from that premise. We start from the angle that our daily life is not fully satisfactory. Because if you ask yourself this, we'll go experiment. If you ask yourself this, can I be happier tomorrow? What's your answer?
Yes.
Right? If you ask anybody, are you happy? They say, yeah, I'm okay. Do you think you'll be happier? I hope so. Yeah? Is that a fair observation?
Yes.
Who says, no lah, I'm okay already. This is sweet. most of us will actually reply, yeah, I'm okay, I'm not suffering too badly. But will you be happier? Yeah, I think so, I'll be happier. That's the normal mind. What does it mean? If you think you can be happier, it means now not good enough lah. Isn't it? The regular mind, the regular instinct is to say, this is not good enough, it can be better. The fact that you say, this is not good enough, it can be better, it means there is a degree of dissatisfaction with now. It is only when your answer is, okay, I'm quite happy, good enough. Then you can say that the dukkha level in your mind is below national average. National average person will say, well, I can be better. I can be better means there is that degree of dissatisfaction. And if the reply is, oh, I'm very jialat, that's hell, lor. That's hell already. So the practice actually helps the individual to transform the mind, change the way it sees things and understands things. And because its perspective has been shifted, it actually feels peaceful. You don't need a lot of external accumulations, all those external possessions. You don't need that to be happy. But for the longest time, we have associated accumulation with happiness. So that's why our habit is still looking for accumulation of outside. You either accumulate outside or you accumulate inside. The same thing is, it's still depending on conditions you cannot control for your happiness. I'll give you an example. Some people say, oh, I don't care for Prada bag lah, Hermes shoes lah. I should use things like Gucci, easier to talk. Gucci wallet. Some people would say that, oh, I don't need these things, but I pay for experiences. That is still accumulation. You are still looking for delight and enjoyment from conditional arising. And as long as you are looking for satisfaction from conditional arising, you are always at risk. Because, like the Buddha said, I like to tease one of my friends like this. If you are not yourself, what is sun? Where is sun? Where is wealth? This is actually the Buddha's own words. If you don't even have control over your own mind, you are controlling relationship and possession, does it even make sense? And then in another instance, the Buddha would say, the regular mind, okay, he did use the word regular. The untrained mind seeks happiness in impermanence. He is impermanent, he seeks happiness in impermanent. Double whammy. Double whammy. Instead, you should train the mind. What is the beauty of this path? The beauty of this path is really to understand in a very scientific way how the mind works. And when you understand how the mind works, the mind is no longer dependent on conditions it cannot control. It is naturally happy, naturally light, naturally peaceful. Natural, unconditioned, organic. Because I'm told I must use modern words. Ridiculous organic. Like this, you must be like this. Then, only then, are you truly happy. Then when next time people ask you this question, are you happy? Your reply is, quite good lah, quite happy lah. Because what is. What is joy. The Dhamma, in my view, is the most beautiful gift It does not fade with time. It does not change with time. It retains its gloss, its radiance, its luster. For as long as the mind understands it, it shines in the mind. And the joy that comes with understanding, with seeing the mind and understanding how the mind works, it's like for the first time in your life, you are not fooled. You're not a fool for the first time in your life. At the point when you see it for the first time, just one glimpse, and you realize entire lives wasted being fooled. And this awakening, this realization that you had been fooled, it's achievable by everybody. As long as you understand the steps that you have to do, and as long as you're dedicated to walking the steps, you can get it. You don't need PhD one. PhD also don't know whether can get it or not. Why? Think too much. So it's a good thing to have no PhD leh. The doubt that many of us carry, the doubt that we carry, is not the doubt in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. It's the doubt in this one. You doubt yourself. We doubt ourselves. And because of that doubt, we suffer. It's because of that doubt we suffer. Because it's because of that doubt you won't start. Or you start. With all the wrong views, you start. You see what I'm saying? So trust me, if there is an investment worth your time and life, the Dhamma training, it's a huge investment. This one, I can guarantee pay off. I can guarantee pay off in this life. No need to wait until 死了才来 collect dividends. Die already collect dividends, cannot prove anything. What? You cannot come back to me and say, hey, you bluff me leh. I want my money back. Sorry. Goods broken considered sold. No. The Dhamma is not like that. The Dhamma is you pay as you try and enjoy. No need pay. Pay is effort. You pay in effort. Pay in effort, pay in training. Use correctly, guaranteed results. My new tagline. The new Dhamma tagline. Applied correctly, guaranteed results. Guaranteed results, yes? Yes. Okay, sweet liao? 烧。